we do what we're supposed to do our job, and it's more than my dad always used to tell us. When you call a customer, you never ask what time they close. You ask what time they open.
I love that, Danny.
You know, when I come out of Florida, I pride myself in that I'm never late. I've been late like twice. One time we rolled the truck over. The next time I had a major breakdown. Or 3 times actually. I had 2 major breakdowns.
So it was a real reason.
But that's it. Other than that, I will do whatever it takes to be on time. Because I'm carrying on the legacy, I guess, of the family, and we don't run late. If I could have one more day with him, I'd want to take him on a trip.
Wow.
Because he'd love it. This was made by my girlfriend and my son when he turned, I think it was 1 year old. Or it was my birthday, but he was 1. And it was just made, and I thought, well, it's got to go in the truck. Well, it doesn't really match my interior or anything like that. It's not really part of the show, but it's got sentimental value. It's not going anywhere. It's, and it's the same way I feel about my father, rest his soul, but it's family. The paint job that I have now is my dad's paint scheme from the 70s and 80s. He had a bunch of W9s that color, and he would have loved it, and I just wanted to build it as a tribute to my dad.
I love it.
Hence the name Big Ed. I mean, that was my dad, and you say about the legend, my dad always used to say, "Oh, I'm a legend." Yeah, Dad, you're a legend in your own mind, but truly he was. I mean, especially now after he's gone, you think about it and all that.
What's going on, Mother Truckers? We're hanging out today with the legend, man. I'm telling you, a legend, man. One of the most humble guys, that every time I bring up your name, Danny, people are like, that's one of the nicest, easygoing guy that you'll ever talk to. And with our conversations that we had off camera, you really are, brother.
Thank you.
So I really appreciate you for that.
Unless you catch me in one of my moments, but everybody has them.
Everybody has them, right?
Right.
Well, we have a special guest today, Danny Kimball. We're out here, we're hanging out, we're supporting the show, but please, we'll talk in the cab, but talk about your build a little bit.
I bought the truck in 15, I believe it was. It used to be white. It originally had orange fenders. I bought it out of Florida. The truck used all jet engines. A lady had it, then she passed away, and the family, whatever, it ended up at a dealership, and I bought it. It was white. It had burnt orange fenders. Pretty simple, but it was a work in progress. I eventually, like a year later, changed the fenders to brown because that's our family colors. The paint job that I have now is my dad's paint scheme from the 70s and 80s. He had a bunch of W9s that color, and he would have loved it, and I just wanted to build it as a tribute to my dad.
I love it.
Hence the name Big Ed. I mean, that was my dad, and you say about the legend, my dad always used to say, "Oh, I'm a legend." Yeah, Dad, you're a legend in your own mind, but truly he was. I mean, especially now after he's gone, you think about it and all the people he knew and the things he did, and it was pretty special. And with this, like I said, I did the brown fenders, and then the truck was paid for or close to it, and I said, well, it's either buy a new one or spend some money. And I said, well, I don't want a new truck, and so let's just do this. So I talked to Nick, my nephew at Amcan, and together with TA Truck Painting in the same building, we decided to redo it, and I gave him a budget like a $45,000, and he's like, well, we're probably going to go over a little bit. I'm like, yeah, well, it's going to happen. I didn't think we could quite go over that. We doubled it, but initially. And like I said, I wanted the truck to be a tribute. I wanted it old school looking. And him and I went through a lot of things. We argued on different things, and Nick has the eye for stuff like I don't even have. And like the sunroof, I wanted the sunroof. That was one of the only things I won on an arguing. But whatever, this is what we came up with. I stretched the frame.
Let's walk it. Let's walk it, Danny.
I put 24 inches in the frame. From what it was 300. And like I said, I wanted simple. I didn't want it crazy as far as some people overdo trucks. And I wanted it simple but clean and, like I said, old school looking. And the fact that I asked Nick, I said, well, what should we do, carpeting or should we do a hardwood floor? What should we do? And he said, no. He said, we gotta do carpeting because that's what the trucks were back then. Okay. It makes sense. You know, I used to
Let's walk it. Yeah, let's look.
I always had WTI fenders on my trucks since '02, and that doesn't fit this build though. We need classic stainless, you know, the old school, and I said it just, I don't know how you got to be classy about it. You can't just, as we say, lick 'em, stick 'em, and just throw stuff at it. It's got to be custom. It's got to be clean looking. You can't just throw things at it and expect it to look good. So like I said, you know, I'm pretty proud of it. It's, my dad would be proud, and that's my main thing, is I want him to be, if I could have one more day with him, I'd want to take him on a trip.
Wow.
Because he'd love it. You know, the trucks, I built the motor. It's got big power now from what it was. My dad was always, you know, he used to clap his hands and rub it. That was his thing. You know, he was excited about it. And, you know, I know he was proud of all of us boys. I have, you know, 4 other brothers or 1 sister. But like I said, we're all in trucking except for my sister. But it's a family thing. We grew up in it. We don't know anything else.
No, you know, that's so beautiful, the way you talk about your father. Definitely. Him shining down now, if he were to say something to you, what would he say, Danny?
I would hope that he'd say, you know, that he's proud of me. And like I said, there isn't a day goes by that even when I'm on the road, because I'm still doing what he did. I run Miami back to Chicago, and he could have a flatbed load that paid $10,000 or a reefer load that paid $1,000. He'd do the reefer load any day of the week. He's like, people got to eat, you know, you'll never starve because people are eating it, no matter what the economy does. And, you know, I've done different things. I went and did oversized flatbed, machinery, all that stuff. But I always come back to this. It's family. It's what I know. It's not easy. I mean, we do things that aren't exactly by the book, but we do what we're supposed to do our job. And it's more than, my dad always used to tell us, when you call a customer, you never ask what time they close, you ask what time they open.
I love that, Danny.
You know, when I come out of Florida, I pride myself in that I'm never late. I've been late like twice. One time we rolled the truck over. The next time I had a major breakdown. Or 3 times actually. I had 2 major breakdowns.
So it was a real reason.
But I said, other than that, I will do whatever it takes to be on time. Because I'm carrying on the legacy, I guess, of the family, and we don't run it.
I love it, Danny. You know, is there a chance that we might be able to see inside?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
You know, I'm telling you, Dad would be so proud. He really would.
Don't mind the cord.
Oh, no, of course. Look at that.
Hope that ain't too loud.
Oh, no, we're hanging out. Look at this.
Yeah, like I said, the interior in the truck used to be gray. And now I do smoke, but I've never turned an interior yellow. And the lady that owned the truck prior, her and her boyfriend ran a team, and the interior was just trashed. So I'm like, Nick, what do we do? He said, well, I'll try to clean it. Maybe we'll dye it, whatever. I'm like, all right. I didn't know this at the time. I went up to TA where the truck was one day, and he goes, oh, there's something coming here. He'll be here in a minute. Don't leave. Okay. All of a sudden, the interior shows up. Because the truck was originally supposed to be built to debut in Louisville in, what would have been, 2000. That was the whole goal of it, the timing-wise and everything else. Well, then obviously with pandemic, it got canceled like 2 weeks before the show. So we're like, well, whatever. Well, Randy at Spare Time Fab made this interior. Usually he's like a year backed up, but because of the show and because of Nick, he did the interior. To be honest, when it first came and I looked at it and Nick had it in the truck, I didn't like it.
You didn't like it?
I did not like it, but it was inside. I couldn't really tell with the not natural light, and I'm like, how do I tell him that I don't like this interior? And I was stressing over it.
I can imagine.
I was like, oh, how am I going to tell him this? And I was talking to my nephew Aaron, which is Nick's brother, and I'm like, how do I tell him that? Well, Aaron ended up telling him, and I went up there one day to work on the truck, and he's like, so you don't like the interior? And I'm like, oh God.
How was that conversation?
Actually, not as bad as I thought. And then I said, we got it outside in the light, and I'm like, it grew on me. Now I really like it. And it's old school, it's cool, it's, you know, the camel color. The sleeper was gray still. And obviously it'd be a lot of work to pull all this interior out. I mean, stupid, because you have to pull all the doors off, the cabinets, everything else to get it out. So we're like, we can't do that. So Chrissy, my girlfriend at the time, was she agreed to help. We taped everything off and we dyed it with interior dye, and it came out great. We did it, the show that was here last year, we did it the day before the show.
Ain't that
I worked till 6 o'clock in the morning at the shop getting everything ready. I mean, that's more than just the interior. Outside, putting it all back together, because that was a national show. So I was, you know, Louisville clean underneath. Everything else was spotless. Backs of the tanks polished, which I try to keep it that way. But she dyed the interior. We put it all back together. I finished at 6 in the morning. Went home, slept 2 hours, got up and came to the show.
I tell you, Danny, you know, I appreciate these stories. You know, it's one of those things where, from the time that you turn pretty much how long have you been trucking?
Since I was 16.
16.
I mean, I grew up around this. I started driving trucks at 10 around the yard, and you know, my brothers, I rode with them a lot. They let me drive at night and stuff like that when I was...
So how many years total you've been driving in a truck?
35.
35 years.
I'll be 49 next month.
I tell you, you know what I love about it is everybody has the really big shifters, and I see you have that old classic shifter.
I cut it down shorter.
It's even shorter, isn't it?
We cut 8 inches off of it. I said, it's just more comfortable. I don't like... My thing is, like, when I go to show, yes, I appreciate the compliments. That's why I do it. I mean, it makes me feel good, but I still have my style. I'm old school. I showed back in the 90s, late 90s and 2000s in Louisville. I mean, I did very well with that with my previous trucks. I made the Shell Super Rigs calendar twice. I'm going to try it for the 3rd time this year with this. 3 different trucks then, if I make it, which would be cool. But I still don't change my style for anybody. And I still have little things that I do. And a friend of mine told me, he said, because I run Miami every week, and I mean, I live up here in Wisconsin, but I grew up down there too. We have our own little style. You know, people on the East Coast have their style. They do certain things. I do things a little differently, and obviously times have changed, and people, different generations, you know, they come up with different ideas and whatnot, but I still go back to what I knew.
I love it.
I mean, my nephews, for example, you know, the weights on the mud flaps. They like the big square ones, whatever. I like the classic look. I'm staying with that. I don't change for anybody when it comes to that. I mean, I may a little bit here and there, but everything's my style. And I don't care what everybody else thinks, but it's what it is.
No, I love it. You know, so for people that want to make things their own, it seems like that's the number one advice right there.
My advice to anybody that wants to do this, as far as show trucking and whatnot like that, the number one thing is being clean. You know, underneath, if you want to do a big show, like these shows that are non-judged, they're great. I love them. It's more of a opportunity to hang out with people, talk trucks, that people that are on the same level as you, that maybe they want to have something like you or whatever, but you're still the same. You're same goals, same family. I mean, it's huge with family. My 6-year-old son is my world. I mean, I come home, I run hard every week, but I want to get home to spend that time with him. He loves trucks. He loves going with me. When he's not in school, I take him with me. I mean, he's special needs, but he's my boy, and like I said, he's truck nuts. And that's the way I was when I growing up. You know, we used to, my brother John, which is the next one older than me, he passed away now, but we used to wash trucks and polish trucks back in the day at the shop, at our family shop, whatever. Not even my dad's trucks, other guys that were leased or his friends that would come in. We'd wash them and polish them for free just so we could drive around the parking lot.
Ain't that something?
Nowadays, not to say it against my nephews, but they want to get paid for it. You know?
Shots fired.
Yeah,
Shots fired.
Well, what are you going to pay me for it? Well, I get you're trying to make money and stuff. I hate polishing, but I do it. I mean, a friend of mine I just polished this week for the show, and normally I wouldn't do that. I mean, I did mine. I got it all done. I do all my own polishing.
Yeah.
Everything I do, I try to do myself. And I'm not the type that wants to hire people out to do it because I don't think they do as good of a job anyways.
You know, I think that's the way the world is.
I'm critical of them. Last year, a cousin that I had never met actually came up. We met on Facebook, obviously, but we were cousins. I mean, his grandma is my first cousin. He said, I polish. Oh, come on up. You know, I'll show you a few things, whatever. I've been doing this a while. He came up. The kid was amazing at polishing, but his work ethic was not.
It is that, you know.
I mean, we worked to do a show. I'm greedy, I guess. I want to work. I don't take off that much, but more so now than I used to. But it used to be really bad. I'd take a week off for Louisville, and that was getting ready and everything.
So you literally live in the truck almost?
No, I'm home 2 days
You're
a week.
home 2 days?
At least 2 days a week.
That's good. That's good.
But now I don't run every week like I used to.
You have a family.
This time, yeah. I have, normally, I'd run 2-3 months every week and then take a week off or something. Now, I just did 6 weeks straight and it killed me. That's what I know I'm getting old and realization.
Come on, Daddy.
My nephew Aaron, which is parked next to me over here, now he's been taking off. He's took off a couple weeks, but he ran 2 years, 52 weeks a year. I mean, we run Miami back, and it's hard running.
Hey, that's killing. For anyone that wants to get into this truck industry, you've been at it for a long time, sir. If you had to give them one advice to make it in this game,
don't, how do you say it? Be a little conservative at first. I mean, don't. Yeah, you like cool trucks. You like, be around this. My nephew Chase, for example, he started out with a truck. I mean, it's an older truck. It's cool, but it's came a long way. Do a little bit at a time. Don't break yourself to be what I'm doing, where I'm at. I mean, this is 30 plus years of this. Don't think you're going to be there overnight. But, people like us and with these non-judge shows, it's great because we treat everybody the same. Whether your truck is a work in progress, and you still got to respect that because they're trying. And, I give guys credit. Hey, I know you're not going to have what I have, and I'm not trying to say I'm better. I just have more years at it. And this truck, when I bought it, it wasn't nothing special. I mean, it was paint missing here and paint missing there, and I touched it up, and I didn't want to blow my wad on it, I guess you'd say, and it came a long way, and then when I redid it, that's when it really come to this. But I said it was, okay, I'll wash the truck myself at home or at the shop instead of going out and getting it washed because I'm going to save some money. I've been there, I've done that. What can I do to save money? You got to be conservative about it. Just because you got money in the bank doesn't mean you need to blow it on your truck.
Oh, that's great advice. Would you change anything about your life? You've been trucking. You've been doing it for a long time. Is there any aspects that you wish?
Trucking wise, no, because I've learned with everything I've done. You got to make mistakes to learn from them. You can't just, somebody tells you one thing, yeah. I mean, I learned that with my family, my dad and stuff. Oh, you got to do this, you got to do it that way. Yeah, I'm going to do it my way. But you learn from it, and that's you got to get the bumps and bruises in order to keep going. You know, I mean, to learn from it truly. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm the best or not even close to it, but I think I'm doing okay.
What keeps you so humble, Danny, honestly?
I don't know. That's the way we were raised. I mean, my mom is 90 years old. You would not know that she's 90. I mean, she watches my son. She goes around to all of my brothers and does our laundries during the week for the families, because she says if I stop, that's when I'll get old. She goes and picks up my son from school and takes him places, and a normal 90-year-old's not going to do that. She cleans my truck. She does the interior for the shows, you know, at the shop, whatever. She comes to the shows when she can, and, you know, that's family. That's what we do for each other. And like I said, my mom raised all of us kids that, you know, you respect people, and you know, you get out. Her famous saying is, "You get out of life what you put into it." And
that's so beautiful, brother.
She beat that into our head for so long. There's no way we could forget it.
there's no way. You know.
No.
I love it. You know, I love just who you are, and you know, I appreciate you giving us time today.
My pleasure.
You know, any shout outs to anybody that's helped you get anywhere in this world?
Well, like I said, my nephew Nick with Amcan Parts. I mean, this truck wouldn't be what it is without him. I mean, he's got the eye for style, and you know, my whole family. I mean, my brothers and whatnot. I mean, we all take care of each other. We all help each other when we can. And they said it's all about family. And you know, this show being, my nephew puts it on. I mean, I hope it grows every year.
Hopefully, I can help it grow.
I hope you can too. And like I said, our main focus of this show, you know, I'm not trying to say it's my show or it's Nick's, but our whole family is. I want to see it be successful. I want the whole theme to it be family. That's the theme to this truck, is our family. You know, with the shirt, the show shirts, it has my truck on the back. Nick put it on this year.
How'd you feel about that?
I was ecstatic about it. I mean, I was really proud, and Nick told me, he's like, don't get a big head about this. I did this for Grandpa. I'm like, I don't really care. It's my truck. But I get the point. It's our family. It's our family colors. And, you know, I talked to Nick when we were parking the trucks on Thursday, and I'm like, you know, Donnie Woods, which is one of the most beautiful trucks you'll ever see, Nick just got done building it this year. He's parked right in front of me, and I said, well, being our family, we built this truck, it's our colors, it's kind of part of the theme of the show. I'm going to park behind him if it's okay with you. Yeah, it's fine, you know. And I said, it just, even, you know, Nick's, the girl that helps Nick in the office up there at the Chrome Shop, she said, you know, this is the least stressful year of the 4 years that the show's been going on, and we're actually doing it, or they're actually doing it on their own now without the Dynaflex or anything like that, and it's turned out so much better. It's less stress, and everybody's having fun. There's no arguing. It's a family oriented, kids everywhere. It's great.
I love it, brother. I love it, man. You know what? I appreciate you, because in a weird way, this is the way I get to make friends. So, you know, I'm glad I was able to make a friend today.
Yeah, exactly. Same here. So, this was made by my girlfriend and my son when he turned, I think it was 1 year old. Or it was my birthday, but he was 1. And it was just made, and I thought, well, it's got to go in the truck. Well, it doesn't really match my interior or anything like that. It's not really part of the show, but it's got sentimental value. It's not going anywhere. It's, you know, and it's the same way I feel about my father, you know, rest his soul, but it's family, so.
I love it. Appreciate you, brother.
That's
great. That's great.